All right, so today I'm excited. Be the Solution podcast. And on the podcast this morning, we have Guillermo Salas. And Guillermo is somebody that I've known for many years. Haven't seen him or talked to him in a while, but go back to at one point, Guillermo had a Remax brokerage here in Philadelphia. And so I'm excited to talk to him because now him and his wife and family, his wife Danielle and family, now live in Spain and still continue to run a team, sell real estate here in Philadelphia. And so my quote for you today, Guillermo, I make quotes specifically for my guest on
Okay.
This quote is for you. Where there is a will, there is a way.
Absolutely. And it's true. It really is. People ask me all the time, like, how are you doing this? And what I've coached, because I also coach, like the how is what stops people, right? Oftentimes we have these dreams and then you start thinking about how am I going to accomplish that? And we just stop. COVID was tough for everybody. But the silver lining was it taught us that I could do this already, right? Like we all did it. We already did it. We've already experienced how to sell remotely. And we came out that experience. We were closer with our family. I didn't want to go back and not spend that quality time with our kids. We had always dreamed about traveling around the world and taking a year off. Now, COVID did teach us that there's no way I wanted to homeschool my kids. Like that was something I didn't want to do. So the backup plan was, hey, I wanted them to learn Spanish as well. Let's go to Spain. It was supposed to be 1 year. 1 year turned into two. After the second year, we sold everything other than our investment properties in the U.S. And we've now made Spain our home for the last almost 4.5 years.
Okay, so let's go back for a second. So COVID was the instigator of this move?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was always our dream, right? To like live abroad, travel. We love traveling. Like that's one of the things. We make money so we can go travel and see the world.
Well, if you know anything about me, that's what we do. We just came back from 3 weeks in Sicily, and now I'm like, well, how can I stay there for longer? Italy and wherever. So this was your dream. Your dream was to live abroad.
It is, and to travel the world and see. Listen, we have one life, and I want to see the most of this beautiful world that we have. And we had the conversation. Like I love Philadelphia, born and raised, go Eagles, all that stuff. But I was always like, why do we live here? Like it's the cold is cold, it's humid. Like I want to see what the world has to offer. And we had this idea, but like I said earlier, the how. Like how do I move abroad when I've got a brokerage, how I've got a team, all my real estate sales are local here. And again, so did the COVID piece was like, all right, well, we're locked up in the last place we owned was over there in Morristown, New Jersey. Like we're here in Jersey, we're still selling real estate. I'm not seeing clients face to face. We're finding out where there's a will, there's a way, like you said. And we were able to figure out, all right, there's a path here. There's something we got here. And when the doors started opening up, we didn't want to go backwards. And so we've proven it. I stopped counting for a while, but at one point in time, I did a calculation. I've closed over 550 transactions since I've been abroad. And customers, all the things that you think would be an issue. That first year, I wasn't really upfront about the fact that I was abroad. I think that I was living in a different country. As soon as I sort of embraced it, more business came, right? I now talk about
you're walking in, in your authenticity, and authenticity attracts. It doesn't dispel. So, right. So you're authentic. You're being the solution. And people are attracted regardless. It doesn't matter as long as you're in your authenticity.
I did. I mean, and the reality is a lot of the things that we do as real estate agents don't require a physical presence as much as we feel like they need to be or that they were in the past. There's video makes a lot of things easier. I am with an organization for the very few things that actually require physical presence. I just need to put a couple of things in place. So I'm with an organization that is broad enough that I can have people available whatever period of time to go maybe do a video screening. Nobody attends closings anymore. At least I don't, and none of my clients do.
We haven't since COVID. I mean, before
Right.
COVID.
So Maria, when you start thinking about like, what do you actually physically got to be present for?
You really don't. I agree with you. You really don't need to be present because I do 95% of my listing appointments on the phone.
Yeah.
I don't even do the Zoom.
Well, that's but like present I mean physically present. You have to be present. Like I'm in my client's world. I'm servicing them. I'm super responsive. Like I got to tell you, when I tell my clients that I'm in Spain, they're like, it's the conversation where our real estate just ends. They're like, cool. Tell me how are you doing this? This is so cool. You're living your life, your dreams. It's never been a negative. And I've actually talked about this on other podcasts. The one listing that I've lost is the one where I actually felt insecure about it, got on a plane, flew back to Philly because it was like a $2.5 million list in the middle of Center City. And it's the only one that I've lost over this time period.
Why?
They must have smelled the insecurity on me. Like, oh my God, I can't service this from abroad and that's the only one that I've lost. All the other ones are like, I just lean into it. I'm like, this is who I am. And like you said, if you're authentic, the people that want to work with you in this manner will lean in. The ones that don't, I was never meant to work with them anyway. And so that's okay. Right.
How did you, so you have boots on the ground here. So people can do the tours. Like it's the same thing. If you have a listing and you have a buyer's probably going to be represented by somebody else in your organization, I would imagine.
Yep. I refer it out. And I mean, I either refer it out or I have a showing assistant, right? There's all different ways you can do that. I've got I call them listing assistants. So I'll send one of my listing partners, I send them to get paperwork signed for people that need to sign in person, that aren't coming to the office or not DocuSign. And I pay them a flat fee. I pay $500. Exactly.
And everybody's happy.
It really is. It's one of the things that throughout the course of my career, I've created systems and processes and documented them. And in fact, I'm very close to creating a course to teach other people to do this because in my organization, I've now had somebody who traveled and wanted to do this and has done this from Morocco, has done it from Portugal. I have one who's leaving in November to do this in Thailand. And it really is like everything else. If you're authentic, you have a system behind it. We talked about a showing assistant. I have a whole system behind it, like, hey, how that person interacts with our client, how they show the house, the questions that they ask, how they report back to me. And they're just, the reality is we feel like clients need us. And that's just the ego. They don't need Guillermo. And frankly, they don't need Maria.
That's correct.
What they want is the customer service or the experience that you represent.
Right.
And
they need the system. They need your system. You build a system. They need the system. They're buying the system.
Yeah. They're buying the experience. And I can teach people how to do that experience. Right.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with all of that. Yeah. It's like when you think they need you, like Guillermo or Maria, that's 100% ego talking. That means you're not trusting somebody else in your organization that you built for 20 years to do what you do. And then shame on you.
Yeah. Well, the other part of this, Maria, that's really, really important and is passionate. My wife and I have created another company around it called Expat Living. Is, I'm 50 now, about to be 51 in January. My mom passed away at 52. Mm-hmm. And my mom and dad had talked about traveling the world their entire lives, and they never got that. Tomorrow's never promised. That's my quote. And we so often push off the things that we truly want to do and accomplish in life for this promise down the road, and that you don't have that promise. And so that's for the people out there that this is part of their dream. They wish they could do it. One, you got to do it now. You got to take action, right? And number two, the other thing that keeps people back is sometimes it's sort of the thought that like, I can't afford this or I can't do this. Well, you can make income abroad. And two, when you're making income in a high sort of dollar market like the US or like the UK or like Canada, and you're spending those dollars in a low cost environment like a Costa Rica, Panama, parts of Spain, man, retirement is so much easier, or it gets a lot closer, and your standard of living goes up way high. So for all those reasons, I'm super passionate about what we're doing and how we're doing this, and I'm committed myself to teach other people how to do it, because a lot of people want to do it, but just they're afraid on how to, they don't know how the how. And like I said, the how stops a lot of people.
It's like, where do you start, right?
Yeah.
It sounds great, but where do you start? I'm like, you know what? I said, let's go to Italy or wherever, but in this case, Italy. Let's do a month. And then let's do another month in 2026. Let's do 2 full months and work like regular work.
Yeah. Live. Right? Yeah.
Like live and work. The cost of living is so much less. Even if we just rent it, we're renting a booking.com, right? An apartment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it's more money, right? For that, because it's like vacationing, but we're not vacationing. But
exactly,
still, the cost of living is less. The cost of food, the type of food that you get to eat, they're killing us slowly here in US. I mean,
you're talking my talk with me. In fact, that's why we started Expat.
I'm sick of this shit.
All the reasons that you're just saying. It's not just, it's living the dream, living your full life. But yeah, health-wise, I was like, we're running this rat race and in this hamster wheel, and like we're eating fast food 24/7 because we got, for those of you that don't know me, I have 4 children. The oldest is 17, the youngest is 11. And we were all at different activities, and we're just in this grind of like activities and eating bad food. So yeah, they move abroad. And listen, I don't want this to be a thing. Like, I love the US. It's my country. There's so many great things about it. This is the right path for me, right? Again, no judgment for anybody who doesn't want to live this life. But one of the factors that I factored in, many of the factors, like safety for my kids, right? They were probably going to go into sort of neighborhoods that I didn't feel comfortable with anymore, that I grew up in for school. Number 2 is the food. Like, I can actually read the ingredients here. And, we started before we even got on this call. My son's going to go to university next year. Like, he's going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's going to go to university here in EU, most likely, or even the UK. And it's life-changing money in terms of what he's going to be able to save. And he's not sacrificing level education. So again, there's so many different factors that go into this: health, spending more time with your family, living that dream. I believe for me, it's super important to raise global citizens and just experience the world and experience different cultures, and actually informs my business practices at a deeper and better level. And I feel like I can actually support my clients better because of it. So I could go on and on and on why this sort of lifestyle makes sense and why I made the choice.
How did you end up in Spain?
So Spain it's funny. I thought my favorite country in Europe was Italy, and it is one of my favorites. Like, we went there on a honeymoon right before COVID. We did sort of like what you were talking about, Maria. We started out like going on vacation for first 2-3 weeks, then became a month. August became our month because it's sort of a little slower. It wasn't like dead business, but it was slower business.
Slow.
Yeah, right. And so
that's why we go the end of August to the first week is 2 weeks in September, and then when I come back, it picks up.
Yep. So that's right. Exactly. We would literally take off the month of August and try different places, and we had tried California, Costa Rica, Italy, and then Spain was the last place, and we just fell in love with it. Obviously, a lot of people know me. I'm Puerto Rican, and so I wanted my kids to speak Spanish. I didn't speak Spanish very well, and so it was a personal journey for me. Like, we had tried a couple of different things, and immersion was the thing we hadn't tried. And so I actually put our kids in public school in the southern coast of Spain, in a small little pueblo that nobody spoke English, barely. And they became fluent within a couple of months. So that was a big driver for me, for them to learn Spanish, for me to really get over this mental fear and hurdle of not speaking Spanish as well as I wanted to. And with a name like Guillermo, man, like, you don't speak Spanish, it's embarrassing. So
it's okay. Now you speak Spanish.
Yeah. So yeah, now we do, and that's actually our kids are starting to learn French.
Oh,
So
lovely.
it's interesting. It's really cool seeing them
So
develop.
you're in southern Spain?
No, now I'm in Madrid. So the first year we were in southern Spain. We thought it was what you think. Like you go. We had this beautiful house, which was so cheap on a cliff overlooking the Mediterranean, and it sort of was a story of why you don't move to where you vacation. So like it was great for the first few months, but then it was just a little slow place for us for where we were in our life. The kids, we all have 4 teenagers practically now. They were bored and my wife was bored. And so we moved to Madrid and we love Madrid. Absolutely. I miss the water because that's my connection to nature. I love to fish. I love to be in the water, but I get that in other ways. For instance, we spent a month in Scotland just now in August. And the year before we went to Ireland.
And how did you circumvent the whole visa and all that?
So we didn't circumvent it. My wife did, God bless her. She researched it all. She figured out what visa we could move over initially. That has changed and it's a process. So like we figured out how to do the different types of visas. Again, that's why we created this company called Expat Living, because people don't know this stuff. And while the information is out there, especially with with AI being prevalent everywhere now, it's great. How do you do it? Like, how do you take all this information, compile it in a way that actually you can get from step A to step Z in a way that doesn't, make all the mistakes that we made. We made a bunch of mistakes along the way. In fact, when we landed on a day that was a holiday. There was no food. Everything was closed down. We didn't have internet. Like all these things that you don't think about. People think about like, all right, how do I get my visa? And let me find some cool, sexy house that I can live in, right? But there's so much involved in terms of moving, in terms of logistics, that we felt compelled. Like, all right, we don't want people to have the experience that we did. We're going to help them along the way. So we've got some workshops, some classes, and some one-on-one services that we provide people who want to make this move. And it's global, right? It's not just in Europe. We also cover South America and North America. People want to go the other way as well.
Yeah, that's great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really fantastic. I applied for my citizenship, so dual citizenship, that's also an avenue that people can do. And I hired an attorney. I did it to, they just send once in a while, I get an email saying, do this. And then I do it and it takes 2 months for whatever I had to do to come back to me. And then I send it to them. And so it's almost a year. November will be a year I applied, and it's a 2-year process.
Yeah.
So that's an avenue people can do as well.
Absolutely. So like if you're Latino, like I am, you can, in Spain, if you live here 2 years, then you can actually with a couple other hurdles, you can get dual citizenship or citizenship relatively easy. It's like a 4 to 5 month process once you've hit the different hurdles and the requirements. And if you have EU citizenship and travel all around EU and work there, and it's like it's so cool. But a lot of these countries in the Europe have these things where like you can work towards that citizenship piece, and it just more opportunity, more options.
I agree. You know what I say? I like to have options.
Yep.
And it's not like I got like chastised on social media the other day because I wrote something about Italy and how great it is. And this guy said, I'm the problem. I should leave America. I'm like, you know me, Ryan Stewman. That's who wrote it. He's a jerk.
Yeah. Listen, I think that's a challenge that we have in our society right now. It's not just black or white, right? It's these far extremes. Just because I like parts of this doesn't mean I dislike this, right? I love parts of Spain. There's parts that I don't love as much, but it fits my lifestyle for what I want and the things that I want for my family. It doesn't mean that I don't like the US. I love the US. I travel back very often. I miss my family. I miss my friends. There's definitely downsides of living abroad, but when you
there's also a lot of upsides. Otherwise,
there's obviously I'm doing this because the upsides outweigh the downsides, right? And then it's not say I'm never going to come back. Who knows, right? Even though I speak Spanish way better than I did before, it's still my second language. And there's moments where I'm like, man, I wish I could express myself the way I could in English. Right. I've said it many times, like I can speak on stage in English. I can't speak on stage yet in Spanish. Right. And have conversations that way.
Well, something to work towards.
Exactly.
Something to
Yeah.
work towards, right? So how
Yeah.
do you do your days? Like, how do you break up your day since you're 6 hours difference,
Yeah.
right? You're
Yeah.
being 6 hours, right?
6 hour difference. Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm curious how you do it. I was thinking I would get up, do a couple hours of work that doesn't require people, and then I would work from like 2 to 7 or something.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm in a weird spot right now because I mentioned that company Expat Living quite a bit. We're launching and growing that thing, so I'm spending more time working on that. But before that, it was in the morning I was sort of just relaxing, right? Because what happens is because of the 6 hour time difference, I didn't want to be working from 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock my time all the way to 7, 8, 9 in
Yeah,
the
but
evening.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. So I mean, that's not the lifestyle you're going for. So I would get up. I walk my kids to school. I go out and have coffee and breakfast with my wife or a friend. I picked up this hobby. It's a sport here in Spain called paddle, and so I would go play that or work out. And then sometime early afternoon, I might do the work, like you said, that doesn't require physical presence. Like I don't need to be on a Zoom or a meeting with anybody. Just knock that stuff out. Then my meetings, I just set the expectation that I'm going to have meetings in the morning time in US time, right? So from my time, 2 p.m. to about 6 p.m. is when I actually would have my meetings. I still have my nights off. So the thing with Spain is people eat later, they socialize later, they start their mornings later. So it's been very relaxing. I have all my calls and all those things sort of in that time period from 2 p.m. my time to about 5, 6 p.m. And then after that, it's family time, and I'm enjoying time with them. So it's not that doesn't mean there's not days where I might have a call that has to probably be like 11 p.m. my time, but it's very rare. Like I can count probably on my two hands over the course of those years that I've actually done that.
Yeah,
The-
that's what I was thinking. I
yeah,
think,
no, it's great.
so
The other
yeah,
piece of this is we are a global economy, right? Every other industry is global, and that's part of like the opportunity for me is I now get to network and expand my business globally. So before I just had I had a real estate team, a real estate office in like one little neighborhood in Philly. And now I've got a global organization. I've got people all across the US. I've got people here in Spain and Portugal, and I refer business out. And here there are some new construction communities where all you have to do is refer in the buyer and you get a 10% commission. Like, how beautiful is that? Like,
in
just
Spain,
in Spain. Yeah. So it's just more opportunity, more growth. And for me, I mentioned the hamster wheel. Like that's the problem with our industry. Like you're only as good as your last sale, right? And
that's
so,
correct.
yeah, the move for me also had a component of like, how do I build my influence? How do I build my network broadly enough so that I don't necessarily have to rely on sales forever? And I'm building multiple streams of income. One of them, which is hugely passive, by just networking and finding other agents that are like-minded across the globe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There definitely is that hamster wheel. I think about that all the time. Like I talk about it all the time,
Yeah.
like constantly.
Well, I mean, I talked about the passion about my mom passing away, but this is another passion of mine. Like our industry is broken, right? Agents, who's teaching them financial literacy? Who's teaching them like, hey, great, you sold a bunch of houses. Where's that money going to? Like, where's your 401k? What are you saving for retirement? And are you going to be that person who is like walking up those stairs until you're 90? And listen, if you're passionate about selling real estate and you want to do to your 90, God bless you, right? But again, it's about options. You can do that, or if you do this the right way and you build residual income, have mailbox money coming in, right? Then you have the choice to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't want to continue to sell real estate till I'm 90. Maybe I'll travel and live in Greece or Italy or wherever that draws you, or stay in the US and, if the beach is your thing, lay on the beach, right?
Whatever it is. The
Whatever
thing
it is.
is, I don't think people really know what they want.
Yeah, well, that's important, right? So I've said it for many years. People think they want money, but nobody wants money for money's sake. It's what the money will do for their life, and the lifestyle they want to live.
And
So they got to
really,
figure out what that lifestyle is.
how much do you really need?
You need less if you live in certain places. Right?
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. I think there's something about we live well under our means. Okay. And we could live in some big fat $3 million house. We don't. We have my townhouse here in Graduate Hospital.
Yeah.
I've had this for I can't even believe we still live here. Honestly, we've been here for 13 years. I mean, it's not important. That's not important.
No.
There's other things we love travel. We love to travel. We like to be without restrictions, and we don't like having debt. And there's something also mentally calming about that, in the sense of there's not that stress.
No, it is. And listen, I've fallen into that trap over the course of my life, where I had the fancy car, the fancy house, and I've gotten rid of all that. Like, I drive not a fancy car anymore, or the place where we live is nice, but it's definitely below the level of means. And what I value for my family, and again, this is just a personal thing, is the travel piece. Like, I want experiences. I want experiences with my family, with my loved ones. That's why in this past year, we spent a month in Scotland. We went to Dubai. We've been to Ireland. We're going to go to Bali in December. That's where I spend my money, is gosh, what a great experience to see all these different
So wait,
cultures.
this year you've been to, where have you been this year?
This year, gosh, we started in Dubai in February. Then we've been to a couple of different beaches along the coast of Spain throughout the year. We were in Scotland. I think Ireland was last year, and it'll be Bali by the end of this year in December. We have
that's a lot of places.
A lot of places. Travel.
Probably wouldn't be able to do that if you were here.
No, and again, for those of you who have families and kids in school, there's a lot of vacation time, right? In Europe. So that break from December into January is huge. We live in Spain, so Holy Week, Easter is not just a couple days, it's 2 weeks. So there's a lot of time where we get to travel. And again, that made sense for us in terms of what we wanted to do.
Yeah, there's more holidays in Europe than you ever even knew about.
Yeah.
And everything, it's crazy because everything shuts down.
Yeah. And because where we're at, family matters, right? It's really family centric. In fact, and not that it doesn't matter in other places that I've lived, but what I would say, one of the things I don't miss about the US is the first conversation you have with somebody, almost one of the first few questions that they ask you is what you do for a living.
What you do.
Yeah. What do you do for a living, right? I've met people here and known them for months, even years. I have no idea what they do, nor do they have any idea what I do professionally, right? We've broken bread. Our families have gone on vacation. It's the focus is just different. It's experiencing life, enjoying life, and the things that for me matter more. That doesn't mean I haven't given up. I haven't given up my professional goals, right? I'm still, that is a big part of my aspiration and my thrive for excellence. But the family and experiencing sort of these things around the world and it just matter just a little bit more. And you can be rich in that as well as money.
That's just a mentality of people from the US. They don't bring their kids to dinner, a lot of them. in Italy, for example, like it's midnight and the kids are out still, like
Yeah.
babies and strollers, like
Yeah.
toddlers, 3-year-olds, 6-year-olds. I mean, the kids go everywhere. You go to restaurants. We've been to restaurants, and I remember in Abruzzo, the region, and it was like an inside outdoor restaurant. So
Mhm.
big outdoor space, beautiful garden, all this. And then over there, they had a little playground
Yep.
right there.
I just did our podcast for our company this morning, and we talked about that. How we would have the parents would get together on the side of the beach, little chiringuito they call it, little restaurants right off the beach, and there's a playground right there. The kids would go play on the playground or on the beach, and the parents were sort of just eating and drinking and enjoying each other's company all together. And the kids would come in, and the parents would flow out. It is just a complete family experience, and we have our dog here we brought from the US, so it's not just the kids, we got our pets as well.
Oh, I wonder how we're going to get our cats. We had to bring them.
Yeah, so there was definitely I would encourage you to talk to Danielle if this is something you're going to do. It sounds like you're doing it, you get into citizenship, but like we studied all the different airlines that take care of like moving over the pets. There's a process, all the paperwork. We have more paperwork bringing our dog over than for the kids and their family.
I know.
So it's a process. Yeah.
I know. I read about it. At least the cats can come on the plane, so they can.
Yes. Yeah. We had to put our dog underneath, and there are definitely some airlines that treat pets better and are safer for pets. So definitely, if anybody's thinking about doing that, reach out to us. We're happy to share recommendations.
Yeah, I think we live in a global world. It's great. Real estate. I would say real estate's a vehicle to live the life of your dreams. Use it the way that you want.
Agreed.
Use
And
it the way that you want. Learn how to be a listing broker, right? Because it's all listings. I mean, that's what I do. I didn't even believe I did a talk yesterday at a Aronimic Country Club about listings. So then I pulled up my information and I was like, but did 269 appointments this year, 140 listings taken. I'm like, it's a lot of listings.
there's a lot of listings.
I guess I'll end up at 200, but they are not all. You need a lot because they're all not going to sell. People aren't cooperative. They say they are, they're not. I cancel them or withdraw them. I mean, and then the other ones sell, but sometimes they don't all sell.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter how good I am. If the people aren't cooperative, there's a bunch of nuts out there.
There are. And what I would say is real estate can get you wherever you want. I would package it with some other stuff too, just to diversify your portfolio, right? Like I've owned a bunch of real estate. We had a large real estate portfolio. I've actually gotten rid of most of it because the liability, the just sort of tired of running it, the capital requirements to do it. I think people really need to think talking about like, what's your expertise, digitizing it and using that to create a stream of income and sell that knowledge base.
The knowledge base.
The knowledge base.
Guillermo, I created a 90-day listing accelerator.
Yeah.
Right.
People need help
getting that out there, but
whether it's coaching, courses, some ebooks, whatever. Like you could do that from anywhere in the world. So that's absolutely part of this lifestyle that we're embarking on and have embarked on, is have that. And then the other piece of it, and I hope you don't mind me talking about this. I have revenue share, right? For me,
how's that going?
It's going great. Like, I've got about 70 agents worldwide, globally, and it's, they close deals. I get a small piece of it, and I get to help them grow their organization. And it's, I help them grow theirs. And if you can live more cheaply on $10,000 a month or $15,000 a month or $5,000 a month, whatever it is, that's just a couple of agents that you need to do and partner with them in a real meaningful way. So that if you decide and wake up in the morning and decide, I don't want to sell any more real estate, you have options. So this is all about options, right?
All about options.
It really is. And I tell people all the time, like I was the #1 commercial agent on one of the brands that I worked at previously. And I got one of those lucite, like nice little things that is now some trash pile. I have no idea what's at. But when my first year at EXP, they gave me $80,000 in stock. And that's my 401k. So I'm not saying like, listen, I believe in our company, but go get compensated in the way that you deserve to be compensated so you can live the life you want to live.
I got a question for you.
Yep.
I would like your opinion if you would want to answer it.
Sure.
So Compass buys anywhere real estate.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I think it's great for what they're trying to accomplish. So I think there's this whole divide in the industry about sort of private listings. Well, yeah, we got a lot more agents. That makes that more possible, right? For those of you who watch my podcast, I'm just not a big believer in sort of the traditional brokerage model anymore. And I see the brokerage model being a loss leader for the other revenue streams that do make the money, mortgage and title. So I believe that the virtual brokerage model is where everybody needs to move to ultimately. The costs associated
Compass is in a boat, but they're not that.
They're not that, but they're also not, they've got a lot of debt. They're not as
And like,
profitable.
how are they even? First of all, $1.6 billion seems cheap to me.
Yeah.
Does that seem cheap
Well, when you're using
for
stocks,
all these brands?
you can create whatever valuation you want when you're trading stock for it, right? It doesn't appeal to me. It's not the model that I want. Like I just don't believe in a model. It's not the model that I would want for my business, where I'm not getting stock, I'm not getting rev share, I'm not getting all these tools and high splits and a cap, right?
Yeah, of course. But
Right.
from a standpoint of like just industry wide, they say they're not going to cipher off the brands, but how does that make sense? Like eventually they will, like everybody else does, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was an M&A attorney before this, so I've seen acquisitions, and what I can tell you is most acquisitions fail because of the integration, and so they have to say they're not going to change things.
Of course.
But it wasn't working the way it was.
It never happens though.
It'll be slow, and it'll creep. Right? There's
2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
We'll be on this podcast and again and again, because I like to have people back on, right? I like to see the journey of my guests, and I like to and this podcast is about developing relationships too with people. It's
absolutely, yeah. So yeah, no, what are your thoughts about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I don't like Compass. You know me. I mean, kind of, you know me a little bit. Anyway, I'm very direct and straight shooter, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I don't really like them. I don't like him, the CEO. And I'm going to tell you why I don't like him. I heard him speak at Inman. Gotta be Inman, New York. Probably 7 years, maybe longer. Pre-COVID. Talked about the agent, the superpower agent. And then he talked about, but I didn't believe him. Like, I don't trust him. I think he's arrogant in the way that he speaks to people. And there was a whole thing with him and, who was it? Maybe Gary Keller. I think they had a big fight on stage. Not like a fight, but a debate. Yeah. And it was heated. So that's how I feel.
There's maybe some stuff behind there that we don't know, but when I look at just the business model, I was at KW before. I don't get it. I know people like the marketing, but for the dollars that you could save under a different platform, you can go invest your own marketing and deliver on that stuff. It's interesting. Like I think the move is what they needed to do in light of where things stand and how things are changing. I've done a couple of webinars and talked about like the operating expense that we run under versus a company like that runs under. You just can't compete. And so if you can't compete from an operating expense and profitability standpoint, you're going to have to try and do something else to do it, to compete. And we're just going to keep on doing our thing, what we do. And we'll see.
I love it. And so tell us about are you launching a course or is it coaching? What is it about the expat community you're doing?
Yeah, so we're teaching people how to move abroad without making all the mistakes that we made. And so the courses are out there. You can check on expatlivin.com. That's LIVIN, not without the G. And
LIVIN, expat
yeah,
live.
expatlivin, LIVIN.com. And we've got 3 different offerings. We've got a variety of offerings, but we got the courses like everybody does with sort of do it yourself. But I just don't think do it yourself works anymore. So all of it has some component of do it with you. And it's a 12-piece course where we take you, most people again think about the beginning part of it, like what's my visa, what apartment or house I'm going to get. But there's a whole long process. In fact, we created a method, we call it the expat method, that takes you from the beginning all the way to end so that you're thriving once you move abroad. The move is only one part of it. It's once you get there, how do you thrive and actually live in that environment? So we have that. We have do it with you, 8-week workshops that we do together. And then for those people who just like, man, I don't want to figure this out on my own, just do it for me. We have that offering as well. And we have a private community that people can go in and support each other, and lots of tools and resources and free guides.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then shortly I will be creating for you real estate agents a course on how to do what I did with every step along the way. Like, how do I sell real estate abroad if I want to do that?
That's awesome. Great stuff. Really great to have you on.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
And certainly, Guillermo, you are being the solution. So thank you for bringing your great energy this morning. It's really good to see you. And I'm glad we got to do this.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.